And welcome back to the Siege of Liberty. I'm your host, Patrick Henry, and today we're talking about Greek philosophy. I think it's really exciting. You know, Plato, honestly, one of my favorite human beings of all time. But first things first, today we're using E equals mc squared, Einstein's famous equation. Okay, and we covered this a little bit. He called it the fabric of space-time, the garment of destiny. You notice what's missing in space-time? There's no time, okay? And they'll say, well, you can substitute the variables, okay? The stuff means stuff. It's more than just letters on a page. I promise you that, okay? Do you guys remember high school algebra? Okay. Once you substitute all these variables and work it out, and I have done that, and this is the problem, you end up with t equals t. It's telling you that time equals time. Okay, and that's not... Well, in middle school algebra, if you get x equals x, the teacher's going to tell you that you did something wrong, and you need to go back and figure it out. But when you get to physics, they tell you that t equals t is because it is. Modern science calls it a universal law. It just is. And I'm telling you, it's wrong. Okay, because if it just is, then all that other stuff we were doing back in 8th grade with the algebra was all wrong. Okay, something has to be wrong here, and I'm telling you, t clearly cannot equal t, because if time, and here's what's really important here. If time is really a fixed cage, then we're helpless. This guy, Raspolsky, it would mean that he's absolutely right when he says that you do not have free will. Which I think is totally wrong, just the opposite of everything we've been taught to believe in our entire lives. History, what this equation means, E equals mc squared being wrong, and you rearrange it, the correct math, well, what this proves is that your consciousness, is what actively shapes reality. And that's what they don't want you to know. That's what they don't want you to know. Plato's cave. Ancient Athens executed Socrates for corrupting the youth, just for telling the kids to question authority. And Plato, Socrates was the teacher. Plato was his student. One of the most famous academies of all time. Okay, we're still using this stuff today. The Greek philosophy is legendary for a reason. So after they executed his teacher for telling the kids to question stuff per the scientific method, you know, per First Amendment journalism, Plato didn't write an essay. I'm telling you, this is the sickest diss in recorded history, okay? He goes to these politicians and the ruling class, and he tells them that they are so deeply ignorant. It's as if they are prisoners, chained to the wall of a cave, with their eyes facing the wall, and they cannot move. And this is how they've spent their entire lives, chained up inside of this cave. And all that they have to talk about and discuss, all that they know about the entire world, is shadows dancing on the wall of the cave. And that's their entire existence, okay? He said that humanity was stuck inside of a cave, just like that, discussing the shadows on the walls. In this allegory of the cave, there are guards that keep the prisoners in line and manipulate the shadows from time to time. And every once in a while, a man will escape. He escapes the cave and discovers the world outside, okay? Can you imagine that? Leaving the cave, growing up your entire life, and all you know is just shadows on the wall. And then you go out. I mean, it would be like time traveling, for sure. Can you imagine? Plato lived 2,400 years ago. Can you imagine if he just dropped down today? Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Keanu Reeves, he did exactly that. And he also did the Allegory of the Cave. Keanu Reeves is a lot deeper than a lot of people give him credit for, I'll tell you that. The Matrix was based on Plato's cave. Okay. 2,400 years later, the cave show has just gone corporate. Enter Gracie de Goebbels, the propaganda minister specializing in the cosmos. What a guy. No, he teamed up with this guy, Raz Polsky.
So first,
to prove that you do not have free will. I
completely agree with you.
And therefore, when he tells you to do something, you should just do it without question, because it just is. Well, he was actually pressed on these mysteries of the cosmos, and the best answer that he had for why things pop into existence is because it just is.
There's no known cause for it. It just is. Right?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people would call him one of the top scientists in the country. I call him the propaganda minister, okay? But admittedly, I'm in the minority. He's who Jeffrey Epstein seemed to turn to whenever he needed some scientific advice. And we know for a fact, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that Gracie de Goebbels is out to deceive us. And how? How can we say such a thing? Well, one of his big things is climate change. And he has spent a lot of time convincing the individual that their actions are responsible for climate change. And so when he tells you that you need to do something different, you should just accept it, because it just is. He is the voice of authority. And the problem with that is, I don't even want to get into whether or not you drive in your car or your shower head changes the planet's climate, because there are very real weather modification programs detailed at places like www.tdlr.texas.gov/weather, and they'll tell you all about the advanced weather modification programs going on right now. And that's just Texas. There's a lot more. And I don't know. I would just venture a guess and say that the length of my shower probably has a lot less to do with what's happening to the planet than some of these other guys filling up airplanes full of strontium and spraying that stuff in the air, and HARP. Yeah, they don't want you to know about HARP. When's the last time Gracie de Goebbels said anything about HARP or solar radiation management, geoengineering, weather modification? No, it's all about cars and showers. And this is my... you gotta understand, when I saw this stuff, my gut reaction, first page, I was like, okay, and then just, oh god, no. That was... it wasn't fun. this is not the stuff that I want to see, but it just is. And it just is not for science podcasts. It's the street level tyranny of local cops. The law is the law because we wear the badge. We talked about Carrollton and how the Constitution is not going to apply in Carrollton. Touched on that briefly tonight. Tonight, we peel the rotten onion on Elm Ridge, Texas Police Department. Okay, a department built on cast-offs, fired from other agencies. This is the bottom of the barrel, okay? This is where they all go to land. This is Misfit Island, okay? Except for one man, Police Chief Brandon Kennedy. He is the poster child, the local DeGobles. He's personable. He's well-liked. He's clean on the surface. Seems like a smart enough guy. Seems capable. The only problem is he is incredibly easy for the machine to buy off and control. Everything just seems to slip right by this man. Okay, I have uncovered 381 pages of raw internal background files. Okay, and that is uploaded right now at the Sane Archives at signalversusnoise.is. Okay, when I say rotten onion, I mean it. Okay, it's... Well, how did we get here? Well, there was it's a long story. Let's just go ahead and get here. Okay, we got to get through this. Okay. Just a brief overview of what's in this nearly 400-page document dump of dirt on the top three brass at the Elm Ridge Police Department. Well, we got $25,000 payments. I want to know more about that, because it's just right there, $25,000 one-time payment. We got more. Multiple counts of convicted of conduct unbecoming an officer. This is 3 guys we're talking about. We got an actual arrest record for official oppression. I had never heard of it. I had never heard of it. I looked into, what they're talking about with official oppression. That's the smooth label they put on jagged tyranny. This is the man that's in charge. And I looked into what he did. Okay, there was a scared little boy. He was officially oppressing a scared little boy. Digging deeper, we show explicit admissions of smoking weed and drinking directly on the clock. Chief. The records show they didn't even run a pre-employment drug screen. Okay, these guys are running the office, running the department up there. Well, there's no question about it. I mean, you admitted that you were smoking weed and drinking on the job. Personally, I want to know more. How often do we do that? Would you say that you have a problem? Have you sought any counseling? We got to keep going. We've got to keep going, okay? There's just so much here, okay? Circle jerk. That's what we got here, okay? These 3 guys, it looks like they just sit around and approve their own raises, okay? Some of them sometimes get 3 raises a year, okay? They've gone from making $50,000 to $150,000 in just a few short years. And what are they really doing? Well, like I said, they're managing Misfit Island, and well, it looks like they've smoked some weed of their own. And we got this guy, Alan Schick, the canine officer, and he's out patrolling, and he's never found any drugs except for Well, there was a bong in there. Marijuana. A little bit of residue. That guy went to jail. Chief doesn't go to jail. We got to keep going, okay? Because there's just more. There's more. This is the most disturbing thing. One of them I saw in the files. Yeah, it reads less like a local police station and more like the conditions of Epstein Island. The note said, remove clothing. They want you watching the shadows on the wall while they're running the racket behind the curtain. Thank you. This has been the Siege of Liberty. Good night. We will speak again.